Apple is like a ship with a hole in the bottom, leaking water. And my job is to get the ship pointed in the right direction.
Have you ever failed and felt like giving up? Have you ever felt like failure is the end of your journey? Well, you are not alone in this. All the successful people in the history of the world have been in the similar situation many times, but instead of giving up, they used failure as a pathway to achieve the extraordinary success. In this video, we'll uncover how failure can be your greatest motivator in achieving the victory. The history is full of remarkable individuals who fell, failed, and stumbled before achieving the highest level of accomplishment. In the words of Winston Churchill, "Success is not final, failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts." The history is rich with the extraordinary people who didn't let failure define them. To start with, let's talk about the great Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple. Steve Jobs' journey is a powerful reminder that failure is not fatal. It is the beginning of success. In 1985, after co-founding Apple in his parents' garage and transforming it into a billion-dollar company, Jobs was ousted from his own company. It was a humiliating and devastating experience for someone who had poured his heart and soul into Apple. Talking about this, Jobs later said, "I didn't see it then, but it turned out that getting fired from Apple was the best thing that could have ever happened to me." Instead of letting the failure define him, Jobs embraced it as an opportunity. He started over by founding Next, a computer company that focused on new ideas and innovation. Jobs' resilience, vision, and refusal to give up eventually brought him back to Apple in 1997, when the company was struggling. Upon his return, Jobs transformed Apple into one of the most valuable companies in the world, with groundbreaking products like the iPod, iPhone, and iPad. His journey from being fired to becoming Apple's savior proves a critical point. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is a key part of achieving it. The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do. Now let's talk about JK Rowling, the author of the famous Harry Potter books. Rowling faced many challenges in her life. She got rejected from the several authors all over the world, but instead of giving up, she used these rejections as a foundation of achieving the extraordinary. She didn't become an overnight success. She poured her heart and soul into writing these books and constantly strived hard, eventually becoming one of the most influential authors in the history. In the words of Rowling, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well have not lived at all, in which case you have failed by default." Finally, it is time to talk about the journey of the great Abraham Lincoln, unarguably the most influential president of all times. Lincoln was born into a modest family. He failed at several ends. He failed as a businessman and went bankrupt, lost the elections 8 times, and on top of that, he lost his mother. But all of these challenges didn't stop him from becoming one of most extraordinary people of all times. Lincoln's legacy is based on his massive achievements. He successfully led the political struggle and the American Civil War that preserved the Union, ended slavery, and created the possibility of civil and social freedom for African Americans. In the words of Lincoln, "Success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm." The legendary Albert Einstein. Born into a middle-class German family, Albert Einstein was not a God-gifted child. His speech was delayed, and neither did he socialize well with other students in the school. In fact, he had anger issues, and once he even threw a chair at his teacher. One teacher told Einstein that he would never amount to anything. They felt like Albert was not a particularly talented student. He excelled in science and maths, but failed in language and history. After graduation, he tried talking low-paying jobs, but was consistently rejected. But those rejections didn't make him lose faith in himself. Having faced challenges even from such a young age, Einstein never gave up. He had an extremely curious mind, and he used to question everything. He published 4 physics papers in 1905, which discussed the concepts of the theory of relativity, the photoelectric effect, and the famous equation E equals mc squared. This was a turning point in Einstein's life. He gained popularity pretty quickly. After that, was offered academic positions at prestigious universities. He won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921 for his brilliant works. His life story is one of the best lessons for all of us. From a child who had developmental and speech issues to one of the greatest physicists of all times, he proved that if you take failure and rejections simply as a learning tool and not get disheartened by it, you can achieve anything. In the words of Einstein, failure is success in progress. At another point he said, anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. The CEO of Tesla, Elon Musk, had endured many setbacks in his life. His rise from failure will definitely be talked about by the generations to come. Musk founded SpaceX in 2002, since he was a dreamer from the early childhood. However, his first 3 rocket launches failed, which almost made the company bankrupt. But this didn't stop Musk from exploring the space. His 4th rocket launch was a huge success, which granted him a stellar contract of $1.65 billion from NASA. Musk also joined Tesla as an investor and became its CEO later on. Tesla nearly went through bankruptcy, but Musk's introduction of electric cars was a turning point, making Tesla the most valuable car company in the world. Musk's failures never made him lose hope in achieving his goals. He rather used those failures as a pathway to making his companies a big success. He is one of the most innovative minds in the history. In the words of Elon Musk, failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. Talking about how every individual can turn itself into an extraordinary individual, he said, I think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. Now that you have been educated on how the greats of the world used failure to succeed, let's talk about the lessons which we have learned so far. Life can hit you in the head with a brick sometimes. Keep your trust intact. Every person aiming to accomplish something great should adopt this mindset. Failure will put your resolve to the test, whether you are an artist, student, or business owner. However, your final success will depend on how you handle it. Failures compel people to reevaluate their tactics and discover what doesn't work, which brings out creativity and clarity. It is difficult to grow without failing. It pushes you to change, grow, and venture beyond of your comfort zone. You just cannot achieve success without failing. Accomplishing your goals without having failed is extremely rare. Success is not something which is achieved overnight. It rather takes multiple failures, and then to use your failures to pave way for success. If you have the right mentality, failure will never take you down. It will instead teach you the hidden key to success. Failure allows you to be more and more creative than before. Because once you have failed using one approach, it is more likely that you will take a different approach next time, thus increasing your chances to succeed eventually. In this way, failure brings out the hidden talent and creativity, which is engraved in your brain, helping you achieve the groundbreaking success. Failure makes you to develop resilience and a strong character. If you use it as a learning tool, not only will it help you instill courage into, but also guide you through every obstacle you come across and make you view things from different perspectives. Failure brings out the monster in you. Successful people see failure as a teaching moment rather than a setback. Failure may teach you things that success cannot. It draws attention to areas of weakness, improves focus, and increases resilience, thus creating a pathway to success.